Welcome to Crochet Social. Today we're going to do granny squares. As you can see in front of you, I have a selection. I have a solid granny square. This is the one we're going to copy today. And because I've just got one yarn, and I just want to show you how I do a granny square, because I hide my joins in the corners, and I do this a special way with a special stitch, so that you don't have to turn your work, and your stitches aren't going to turn into a spiral. Because what can happen sometimes with doing granny stitches is that, because you're working in a stitch that kind of moves along with where you're joining, it kind of moves stitches, you create this twist and you lose everything being very straight. And you can definitely see it when you're working with an ombre yarn, which I don't have because it wouldn't show the colors big enough for my little samples. So this one is using a very mottled effective dye on your yarn. It is very pretty and it works very well. Or you can be a bit more adventurous and choose really contrasting colors to make a really kind of garish out there granny square blanket. Now with the granny square, you can literally keep going around and around and around for as big or as small as you want. If you made them this size, you could join them together. Um, these are all made with different sized hooks, so you can see the difference because these are all different types of yarn. So this one's a DK, this one's the Hobbycraft Everyday Chunky, and this one is one I got on holiday when I was in America, and it's from Hobby Lobby. So they all use different size hooks, and you can see that they're all different size squares. So I wouldn't put these together, but if I made squares using this yarn, which is this one here, I could piece them all together and make a bigger blanket. So let's get started. We're going to be doing a solid coloured granny square like this, and it's called granny because we're using granny stitches. Now, hopefully you have watched my how to do a double crochet or treble, because it uses 3 of those stitches to make a granny square. So let's get started. And if you haven't learned how to do this stitch, I will show you very slowly how to do the first few, but then after that I'm literally going to be describing how we make the square. So if you haven't watched how to do a double crochet, I'll put it up as a link, and you can watch that one first, get to know how to do the stitch, and then you can come back and learn how to do the stitch pattern, which is the granny stitch. So let's get started. This is the yarn. I've actually finally managed to find one that has its label, for those that like to see a label. So this is from Hobbycraft in the UK. It's noted as a chunky. They suggest using a 6mm hook. I find that works quite well. This is a 6mm hook. It's quite a stiff finish. If you wanted it more drapey, then I would go up a hook, maybe to a 7, maybe a 7.5, depending on what you want to do and what stitch you're using. But for this, perfectly good with a 6mm hook. So let's take that off and we can get started. Now for a granny square, because you're working in a round, you can do it the traditional way, which is to chain 4, join the chains together and work inside that hole. I'm going to show you how to do that first, and I'm going to undo it. The beauty of crochet is you can undo it and start again and no one knows. And from then I'm going to show you how to do a magic ring, because I prefer the look of the magic ring. So very quickly, we're going to make a slip knot. I'm going to show you over these 2 fingers. There's 101 different ways to do it. If you know how to do a slip knot, please go ahead and make one. If you're curious as to how I do it, do watch. So I lay it over 2 fingers, I wrap it round, and make sure I have a cross. So from my tail, this is my tail, this is the end of the yarn, the tail, and we go over and around, and I have a cross, so that the first part is in the front and the second part is in the back. I then put my hook underneath the first one, and I grab the second one and I pull it through, and then I pull my tail and my hook apart to make the knot tight, but not too tight. And then I pull my working yarn, which is the yarn that is attached to your wool. You pull that so it's nice and snug. There we go. Now, as I said in my double crochet video, you want this to be able to move quite freely. You don't want it too tight. Crochet is very loose and forgiving compared to knitting. So we're going to yarn over, grab that yarn, move your hook so it's coming facing down. Can you see how it's facing towards me? I'm going to pull it through. I'm going to stab the ceiling, which I mean by pushing this yarn all the way down to where you hold your hook. My hook is already facing up. It's natural for me to just turn it straight away. So I'm going to grab that yarn for a yarn over. I'm going to twist my hook down and pull it through. That's 2. That's 3. Get the right bit. That's 4. So from there, can you see how I've kept it all very straight? It's only 4 chains, so it doesn't always want to twist. I'm going to make sure I grab the top and the back bump of my chain. I'm going to yarn over, pull that through, and I'm going to slip stitch it to the loop that is on my hook. I'm going to then chain 3, and this is going to count as a double crochet or a treble in English terms, sorry. So I always say American terms before I say the English terms. So the double crochet is the American term and the treble is the English term. So this chain 3 counts as 1. Going to yarn over, insert into this hole. Now you're going to see lots of little gaps. Okay, so let's just describe what we've got here. So first of all, this hole here, it looks like you should go in there because it's all baggy. That is where you did your slip stitch. That is where you joined to. You don't want to go into there. What you want to do is you want to peel these apart and you're going to see a hole. And the hole will have the chain wrapped around it like this. So that's where we're working. If you want to get a smaller hook and make it so that the hole is more pronounced, can you see how it's now become more pronounced now? So yarn over, insert into that hole. Don't worry about your tail. You can leave it hanging or you can hold it around. It's fine. Yarn over, pull that through. Now, a recap for those that have watched my double crochet stitches. Let's go over what we have on our loop. So we have the first loop. This doesn't count for anything. This is your yarn over, your first one that you held with your index finger. This one creates the height and the structure of a double crochet. And this yarn over that you pulled through the chain ring that you made, that one anchors it to the chain ring so that you have something for it to hold on to. Then you're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. I'm going to do the next one slowly. Yarn over, hold it with your index finger, straight into that hole, yarn over, pull through to anchor it, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, grab that yarn for a yarn over and pull it through 2. So that is your first granny stitch. So a granny stitch is either a chain and 2 double crochets or 3 double crochets together. So basically you want it to be a set of 3. We're going to chain 2 because this is going to be a corner. Going to yarn over, hold that yarn over with your finger. Before you even find where you're going, hold it with your finger. You can follow all of this down to the hole where you need to work. Straight into there for a yarn over, pull through to anchor it down. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 and repeat. And one more for 3. So there I have already got one side, a corner and my second side. I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2 for my next corner. I'm going to yarn over, insert into that ring, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's 1. I'm going to repeat it. It's 2 and repeat once more. That is 3. So I have 1 side, 2 side, 3 side. Now it looks like I don't have enough room there at all. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my last stitches I did and the ring, and I'm going to pull to make room. You see how I've made some nice space there? Chain 2 for a corner, yarn over, insert your hook, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. So that's 1, that's 2, and that is 3 right there. Now I have side 1 a corner, side 2 a corner, side 3 a corner, side 4. I now need to make a corner, and the way I finish my corners allows me to have all of my joins in a corner. And to do that, I do a stitch. And for this, I'm going to find my the top of my chain. I know it's here because I know what I'm looking for. If you don't know what you're looking for, you're going to run up this stitch here, and you're going to see that that's your third, your second, and this is the top of your chain. You want to make sure that you have both parts of the top of that chain, so the front part of the chain and the back part of the chain. You want those. It can be a little tough to get it in, but it will go in. Yarn over, pull that through, and now you have the loop on your hook, a yarn over, and you have the loop that attaches it to the chain. What we're going to do is we're going to yarn over and we're going to pull through all three. This is called a half double crochet. It's a very, very easy stitch. It's almost like the stitch you've done, but instead we're going through all three. So if I go through all three now, you will see that I have ended up with my hook and this part here in the middle of the corner, which is perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. So I'm going to chain 3. So I'm now on the second row and get some more yarn. And to yarn over into this corner space. We're now going to be working into spaces. Okay, and so the second round, you're just working into corner spaces. So I've chained 3, I've yarned over, I'm holding it, I'm going straight back into this corner, yarning over and pulling it through, then through 2 and through 2, and again for my third of the starter. So your starting round always has a chain and 2 double crochet. Some people like to chain in between, jumping between these parts. So when you jump over a granny stitch, they like to chain. I prefer the granny stitches to be a bit more compact, so I don't chain. You can insert straight back into this next corner, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and you want to have 3 stitches into this corner, just like that. Now it's going to feel a little funny. I'm going to chain 2, and then you're going to go back into this corner. For 3. So that is how, with using the chain, I start my crochet for a granny square. I'm going to undo this. I'm going to show you next how to do a magic ring because I prefer it. A magic ring is basically how a slip knot works, but you're working into that slip knot. So you're going to create the first part of the slip knot. So like I did before, with the tail coming across around my fingers, making a cross somewhere. So I have a front and a back part. My front part is always the first bit. My back part is always my second bit. And then I put my hook under the front part to grab the second part and I pull up. Now this time I'm not going to take my fingers all the way out. I'm going to leave one in and one out. You see I've got a bit of tension, and I'm going to chain 1 straight away before I even do anything else. I might need to redo that. Let me redo that. Okay, so to do a magic ring, you have your fingers like this, and you have your tail of your yarn. You're going to hold it, you're going to wrap it around, and you're going to wrap it around so that the first bit is in the front and the second bit is in the back. Let me move over a little bit. There we go. This is my tail. It's underneath this cross. So this is my first bit. This is my second bit. I'm going to pull this through like this. Can you see how I've slightly twisted my hook as well? I'm going to grab that yarn. I'm going to pull it through for a chain. It's quite tight, and that's okay. I'm going to pull this down. I've now locked that magic ring into place. I like the fact that this part weaves round. I feel like it gives it a bit more of a knot when I pull it close, so I prefer to leave that. So to start the same way as before, we need to chain 3 so that you have your fake double crochet, and you're going to do 2 double crochets into that big chain, that big loop, that's your start. There's your granny stitch. You've got a chain and 2 double crochets. We're now going to chain 2, and you're going to work back into this loop, and you're going to do 3 double crochets as before. That's 2, and that's 3. I need a bit more yarn, bear with me. Chain 2 into here for another 3. So let's see what we've got. We've got our tail that's wrapped around what we're working into, our magic ring. If it wants to come undone, it's fine. It doesn't matter. You have one side, chain 2 for a corner. Then you have your granny stitch, chain 2 for another corner. And your third side here is your 3 stitches. I don't need to move this one down. I've got enough room. So I'm going to chain 2. And I'm going to insert my hook into that loop and do another set of 3. I feel like my ring is a bit too loose, so even though I've got 1 stitch left, I just want to pull it a bit tight. So I'm going to hold on to the last stitch I did, and I'm just going to gently pull that tail and watch it close up. And then I'm going to do my last stitch into there like that, and then I'm going to pull it really, really, really tight. Can you see how it's a much closer fit down here? I'm going to do what we did before. 1 second. Move that. There we go. So it's the same join as before. I'm going to do a half double crochet into this stitch, and which is loop on your hook, a yarn over, hold with your index finger, and then we're going to find the top of your chain. So you can see you've got your stitch and a loop just there. That's your third, that was your second, and this is the top of your chain. You want the front part and the back part of that chain. Bear with me. It can be a little tight because it's your first one of the round. There we go. So with the chain, you've got the front part, which is the part closest to you, and the back part is the part that's furthest away. And so you want to make sure you have both of those so it doesn't stretch too much. You're going to yarn over and pull through. You have 3 loops on your hook. You've got the loop that's nothing until you finish. Your yarn over that gives you a bit of structure. For this one, it's giving us distance. And this is the loop that you pull through to anchor it down. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops to make your corner. And as before, I'm sitting in the middle of that corner. I'm going to chain 3 to yarn over straight into that corner for my 2 double crochet on my starting granny stitch of the round. So I've got my chain and my 2 stitches. I'm going to jump straight to the next corner. I've yarned over straight away, jump to the next corner and do your granny stitch, which is a set of 3 double crochets, or 3 trebles in English terms. Chain 2. Can you see how I didn't stop there? I just automatically went into my chain 2, into yarn over straight into this hole here. Same corner for another 3. Every corner gets 2 sets of granny stitches straight into the next one, and you might find that it curls a little bit, and that's totally normal. We can hand block it, which means using your hands to flatten it out, or you can wet block it. There we go, there's my last set for that corner, straight into the next corner. Chain 2 into the next corner. Oh no, sorry, the same corner. And at this point, I'm going to show you what we should have. So this is where you started. This one here, you see there's a nice straight line coming from there. This is why I prefer working in the corners. So we have our first set, then we have our second corner. then our third corner, and our fourth corner. Now this one needs the other half to create the set, so we go straight into this corner and we do another set of granny stitch, another set of 3 double crochets for a granny stitch. And then because we're carrying on this round, we're going to do the same again. So we count. You can count from the bottom if you can see your stitches, or you can count from your third to your second to the top of your chain. Remember to get both. See how that one was a bit easier? It's because it wasn't all down here and all a bit tight. Yarn over, pull that through the front and the back of that chain, and then through all 3 to give us our starting position back in the corner. Going to chain 3 straight back into here for our 2 stitches for our starting, and now you will see that you have a gap here. This is where we're going to work into next. Every round you get more of these gaps in between your corners. So this is a corner, this is a corner, and this is the middle, this is the side. So I'm going to put my hook into this corner, into this side. I'm going to do 3 stitches for my granny stitch, just like that, and then I'm going to go straight into the next corner. Before I do a chain 2, I want to show you what's happened. So this is where we started this round. I did my stitch in the middle and then I did my corner. And as you can see, this is the second round and this is the third. This created a gap here and I've worked into it. By working into here, I have opened up 2 more side spaces for my stitches on the next round. So back to this corner, chain 2, straight back into the corner because every corner gets 2 sets of granny stitches, and then in that side space, the amount of times I have missed a side space and had to go back and redo it is crazy. So always try and remember you'll have side spaces to work into too. Now I'm back in the corner. There's my 3, chain 2, on over straight into that corner, 2, and that's 3. Need a bit more yarn. So as you can see, started here and I've worked my way around. So I've worked into that side piece, and then that side piece working into there, and then the next corner has opened up 2 more. Then I worked into the corner, worked into the side piece, worked into the next corner, and this side has also got 2 side spaces for me to work into. So now this next one, working into a side space, sorry. That's 2, and that's 3. Right, and then we jump straight into the next corner, and in corners we have a granny stitch, chain 2, and another granny stitch, chain 2. Can you see how before I even turned my corner that I was working into to do the next bit, I already chained 2, because if I know I've got it there and I yarn over and I turn, I can just automatically go straight in to that corner. Can you see how much my left hand moves when I have enough yarn? 1 second, there we go. So for this bit here, I want you to watch this hand, okay? Watch how much it moves. I'm always holding my work with my thumb and middle finger. So I want you to see, and I automatically bring my hand down and my finger can find the side space. I insert, I pull through, and then when I get to here, I reposition my hand with my fingers to hold that stitch at the bottom, I come away, I come back, come away, come back. So I'm always changing where I'm holding my project with my left hand. Now, this is how big I want my squares to be, as you can see. That's how big I want them to be. So when you have reached the end of your square, I finished differently to how I do my going around and making more joins. So when you've finished making your square, chain 2, find the top of that stitch, that chain, sorry, find the top of the chain, make sure you get the front and the back loop of that chain, and then you pull through. You pull through the loop on your hook as well, and then you do another through the loop on your hook. Pull it tight to fasten it off. Leave a nice tail, just like that. Now you'll see, because I've been moving this and working into it, my tail has come undone slightly. So I'm going to pull this nice and tight, like that, and then I'll weave this in. Now to weave this in, I usually use a very sharp needle that's got a bigger head to hold on to this, and I go around and back on myself about 3 times just to make sure that it's in there. I've had a lot of projects that have come undone, and I try and use as much of this tail to go around on itself and back again to ensure that it doesn't come out, and if it did, then I have enough yarn. And with this tail, I usually weave it in the loops behind the top, come down, and then I'll either go around the corner here a couple of times, or I'll go along here and go into here. Just depends how I feel when I'm doing all my ends. So that is that, and what I'm going to do is I still have the sample where I did the chain, and you'll be able to see the difference between the centers. So there's the center of the magic ring, and this is the center for a chain, and as you can see, they're very, very different. I prefer this look. If you prefer this look, it's totally up to you. That's what crochet is all about. So enjoy making granny squares, and hopefully I'll see you again for another video. I will make a video on how I like to join my granny squares, so I'll see you then. At the end of this video, there will be a little card that comes up that is for the difference between UK and the American terms. And hopefully you like this video. Please leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment if there's any project that you're struggling with, or a stitch you're struggling with, or how stitch markers work. Whatever it is, please leave a comment and I'll add it to my list of videos to make.